Good morning, students. I am Swain. Welcome you to the GYANJYOTI online classes. Students, for the last few days we were studying history, but now we will start the section geography. And the name of the chapter is air, and chapter number is 4 from the section geography. Students, we all know that air is one of the most essential surviving element for human beings to survive. Apart from water, air is also one of the most important elements to survive. Without air, we will be unable to survive in the earth. So students, the earth is enveloped by a deep blanket of gases that is called the atmosphere. The gaseous cover of the earth is known as the atmosphere. Students, in the earlier classes we have studied that there are three spheres of the earth. The first one is the atmosphere, the second one is hydrosphere, and the third one is lithosphere. These three combined spheres make up the biosphere. Okay students, and among them atmosphere plays a major role in the biosphere. Due to the force of gravity, it is inseparable from the earth. One of the reasons why earth is a unique planet in the presence of the atmosphere. All living beings on the earth depend on atmosphere for their survival. All the living beings, students, it may be human beings, animals, plants, creatures, everybody, they need air, they need water to survive on this planet earth. It is the inhaling air which we inhale, which we take inside, it is only it can be only felt on the planet earth. Therefore life is possible on the planet earth, otherwise other planets are therefore unable to be stay there. Then students, it provides us the air to we breathe and protects us from the harmful effect of the sun rays. Without this blanket of protection, we would be baked alive by the heat of the sun. The infrared rays, they would burn us. So there is a layer called ozone layer which saves us from the different infrared infrared rays coming from the sun to the earth. Then students, so atmosphere makes temperature on earth livable. It makes a livable temperature, which makes us a little livable. Students, as I have told you that atmosphere is one of the most important layers of the earth, and it is one of the it is one among the three important spheres of the earth. Okay students, now we will study about the composition. What does it contain? The composition of the atmosphere. Okay students, what the composition means, what does it contain? The earth's atmosphere is a mixture of different types of gases occurring as layers of varying thickness, densities and temperature. It also contains dust particles and water vapor. The major constituent gases are the nitrogen and oxygen. Students, the major constituents of gases are nitrogen and oxygen. Then it also contains dust particles and water vapor. The percentage of different gases near the surface of the earth is given below, or I will write here. Students, just watch. The first one is the nitrogen. The percentage of nitrogen is the highest in atmosphere, that is 78%. Then oxygen. So what about the percentage, students? 21%. Then students, it is argon. It is near about 1%. It is 0.93%. argon 0.93%, and the last one is students carbon dioxide. So these are the major gases found in Earth or in the atmosphere. Nitrogen is the most plentiful gas in the air. We use very little amount of it, but plants need it for their survival. They do not use nitrogen directly from the air, but take it through bacteria which take nitrogen from the air. And student, they change its form so that plants can use it. They take it, not they take it from directly, they take it from the bacteria. Students, then nitrogen, as I have told you, the highest amount of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. The second one is oxygen, which we take, which we inhale. It is the second most plentiful gas in the air and is inhaled by humans and animals. Green plants also produce oxygen during photosynthesis as they breathe. In this way, oxygen content in the air remains constant. If we cut trees, then this balance goes disturbed. Okay, students, because trees are the major source of oxygen. Okay, students, then we will study about. Okay, students, then the next one is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. It is the another important gas used by plants to make their food and release oxygen. Humans and animals release carbon dioxide. The amount of carbon dioxide released by humans or animals seem to be equal to the amount used by the plants, which make a perfect balance. Thus, a perfect balance is maintained. This balance gets disturbed when billions of tons of carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere due to burning of coal and oil. Students, there is a balance being created by the nature, but it gets disturbed when human beings try to destroy it. Okay, students, now we will study about the structure of the atmosphere. Students, if we see the structure of the atmosphere is divided into the following significant spheres. Means it has been divided into 5 spheres. The first one is, students, troposphere. Then, students, the next layer is the stratosphere. Third one is mesosphere. Then, students, the fourth one is thermosphere. And the fifth one is exosphere. Okay, students, so these are the 4 important spheres of the atmosphere. So we will discuss it one by one, and the first one is, students, troposphere. What is troposphere? It is the lowest part of the atmosphere with an average height of about 13 kilometers. Students, it is the lowest part from the ground. It will take, it extends up to 13 kilometers from ground. Just imagine that what would be a distance of 13 kilometers. Then, in this layer, various weather phenomena takes place, like the rainfall, the fog, and the hailstorm. It is therefore seen as the theatre for weather. Okay, students, troposphere literally means the region of mixing. Okay friends, it meaning region of mixing. In Greek, it has been derived from the Greek word tropos, meaning mixing or turbulence. Students, different type of weather phenomena like the rainfall, hailstorms, they are seen in the atmosphere. Students, the next sphere is the stratosphere. So the next layer, it is the layer above the troposphere, extending up to a height of 50 kilometers from sea level. From the sea level, it extends up to 50 kilometers. See, this layer is almost free from clouds and associated with different weather phenomena. Students, as I have told you that stratosphere is free from all type of weather phenomena. Therefore, it is the ideal place, the ideal level for flying of aeroplanes and different objects like it may be rockets, it may be helicopters, or etc. etc. And it is the ozone layer. It is the ozone layer which absorbs and scatters the solar ultraviolet radiations. In this layer, 99% of air is located in the troposphere and stratosphere. Students, remember this is a very important point. 99% of air is present in troposphere and stratosphere. The third one is, students, mesosphere. So what does mesosphere contains? Meso literally means middle. Meso middle sphere. You can say as middle sphere. It is the third highest layer in our atmosphere, extending up to a height of 80 kilometers from sea level. Okay, students. Then meteorites burn up in the layer on entering this layer from the space. Okay, students. Then the fourth one is thermosphere. Thermosphere. Student, what is thermosphere? In thermosphere, temperature rises with increasing height, because as we go nearer to the sun, the temperature will definitely increase. It lies beyond the mesosphere, extending between 80 to 400 kilometers. Okay, students, it lies beyond the mesosphere. The last one is, students, exosphere. Students, what is exosphere? It is the uppermost layer of the atmosphere and lies between 400 to 1000 kilometers. It has the lowest density of air as it gradually merges into outer space. Okay, students, so these were the 5 layers of the atmosphere. Now we will move further to the next subtopic. Now, students, there is a small term called the greenhouse effect. It plays a very important role in our environment and in climatic conditions of our earth. So what is greenhouse and what is the greenhouse effect? Most of the greenhouse are the small glass houses used to grow plants. You may have seen somewhere, especially in the winter. Greenhouses work by trapping heat from the sun. The glass planes allow the light to pass through but do not allow the heat produced to go out. So this is the most important thing. It allows the light to pass in, but they don't allow the heat to go out. Then this causes the greenhouse to heat up, much like the inside of cars parked in sunlight. This is how the greenhouse keep the plants warm enough to live in winter season. So what is the greenhouse effect? The Earth's atmosphere is all around us. Water vapor and some of the gases like carbon dioxide, the nitrous oxide, methane, and they are all called as greenhouse gases. They present in the atmosphere, behave just like the glass planes in a greenhouse. They trap energy from the sun. Without these gases, heat would escape back into the space, and Earth's average temperature would be very cold for about 60°F. It means the gradual rise in the increase of temperature, that is called the greenhouse effect. So because of this way, they warm our world. These gases are referred to as the greenhouse gases. The greenhouse effect is very important in the functioning of the different type of weather phenomena in our Earth. Had there been no greenhouse effect, the Earth would have been warm enough for all of us, including other living things, to live. Okay students, so this was all about the greenhouse and greenhouse effect. Now students, our next topic is the weather and climate. So students, you may have seen the weather conditions reports are been shown in news channels. So what is the major difference between the weather and climate? We experience many changes in weather conditions each day. Some of these changes affect the clothes we wear, the food we eat, and the houses we live in, and so on. At times, the days are so hot that we won't want to wear clothes. And sometimes it is so cold that we need to wear more and more clothes. The thickness of the cloth should increase, what we believe. Sometimes it rains heavily, and other times of the earth it is so dry that cracks developed in the fields due to famine or drought. If we observe what type of changes takes place from morning to evening, then we can know about that what is the difference between weather and climate. Students, then we also find that on a particular day, one place is cold, another place is hot. Thus, day-to-day atmospheric condition of a place is called weather. So, what is the definition of weather? The day-to-day atmospheric condition. The day-to-day atmospheric condition is weather. Then it says various elements such as the temperature, pressure, humidity, wind and its direction, rainfall influences the weather. These are the different phenomena which affect the weather conditions of a particular place. It's an important part of our lives. We cannot control the weather. Yes, it is true, it is natural, we can't control it. Instead, the weather controls us in many ways. Weather constantly changes, it is a continuous phenomenon. The weather doesn't remain in the same place or in the same place for a longer time. It changes from time to time. Then students, we'll move to climate. Climate is often spoken about as synonymous as to weather, but it is something quite different. It is totally different. Somebody will say that what is the climate of that place? No, climate is a weather condition for a longer period. So we have to say that what is the weather condition of a particular place. The climate is the average weather condition. As I have told you, the climate is a average weather condition. Okay students, so this was all about the climate. Now students, we know that the different places around the world have different climate. Deserts have a hot and dry climate, while Antarctica has a very cold and dry climate. So it depends it changes from place to place. Then students, will move to air pressure. Students, what is air pressure? The atmospheric pressure at a place depends on three things. Students, the atmospheric pressure, the first one is temperature of the air, the second one is the height of the place, and the third one is the amount of moisture present in air and hence its density. So students, first of all we will see the temperature. The temperature of the place. How does it affect the atmospheric pressure of a particular place? How temperature affects? The atmosphere is made up of matters like gases, water vapor and dust particles, and hence it has weight. The air above us presses us with a great force on our bodies. However, we do not feel it. Okay students? Yes, it's true that we can feel the air, but we can't see it. This is because the air presses us from all the directions to our body, into our body, exerts a counter pressure. In areas where the temperature is low, the air is cold and therefore very heavy. When the air gets cooled, it contracts. On contraction, its density increases and it becomes heavy and settles down. So, the heavy air sinks and creates a high pressure area. High pressure is associated with clear and sunny skies. Air always flows from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. Students, this is the most important part in this topic, that in this subtopic, air always flows from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. So students, what is air pressure? What is exactly, we can say, the definition of air pressure? The pressure exerted by the weight of air on the earth's surface. Students, I am going to write the definition. The pressure exerted by the pressure exerted by the weight of air on the earth's surface is called air pressure. Okay friends, then the next is, as we go up the layers of atmosphere, the pressure falls rapidly. The air pressure is the highest at the sea level, and when we go upper and upper, then the air pressure falls rapidly. The air pressure is the highest at sea level and decreases with the increase in altitude. Altitude, student, means height. Temperature of the place also has an influence of air pressure. We know when the air gets heated, it expands. On expansion, its density decreases. It becomes light and tries to go upwards. Hence, in areas when temperature is high, the air gets heated and rises up. This covers a low pressure area. Low pressure is associated with cloudy skies and wet weather. Student, then our next subtopic is wind. Students, what is wind? So you must have heard from, always we must have heard what is the wind, what is the direction of the wind, how you can feel it, not you can touch it or you can see it. The movement of air from high pressure area to low pressure area is called wind. A simple definition, the movement of air is called wind. Sorry, it is wind. Okay students, then wind is defined as the air in motion. This movement is caused by warm air rising and producing a low pressure area, and cool and air replacing it from an area of high pressure to the lower areas. The greater the difference in pressure between these two areas, the stronger is the wind. The wind speed is measured by an instrument called anemometer. Wind speed, students, is measured by anemometer. And students, a wind vane also helps to determine the direction of the wind. If you want to know the direction of the wind, that is wind vane. Okay, friends. Then these two instruments help to know the speed and the direction of the wind. Students, as I have told you that wind vane and anemometer both are used for finding the direction and the speed respectively. Students, we all know that temperature between the equator and the poles generates the global general circulation of winds. This circulation redistributes heat from low altitudes to high altitudes. Okay, students, so this was about the wind, and now we will study the different types of wind. As I have written here, what are the different types of winds? There are three major types of winds blowing over the surface of the earth. So what are they? The first one is planetary or permanent winds. Okay, students, planetary or permanent winds. So what are the students? What are the permanent winds? The winds blowing in a particular direction throughout the year on the surface of the earth are known as planetary or permanent winds. Students, please listen carefully. The winds which blow in a particular direction throughout the year, that is called the permanent wind. These are caused due to the presence of semi-permanent pressure belts. These are of three types. So even the planetary winds or the permanent winds are divided into three types. The first one is the trade winds. The second one is westerlies, students, and the third one is the polar winds. Okay, students, the third one is the polar winds. Students, trade winds move from the subtropical high pressure region to the equatorial low pressure region. They blow from northeast to southwest. Students, this one. The trade winds have a quality that they blow from northeast to southwest. Northeast to southwest. Okay, students. Then, students, they in the southern hemisphere and from southeast to northwest in the northern hemisphere. This is possible in the southern hemisphere. Northeast to southeast in the in the northern hemisphere. And just the opposite, the vice versa, it happens in the southern hemisphere. Students, the next is the westerlies. What are the westerlies? These winds blow from the subtropical high pressure belts to the subpolar low pressure belts. They blow from southeast to northeast in northern hemisphere. So they blow from southwest to northeast in the northern hemisphere. Okay, students, this blows from this side in the northern hemisphere and from the northwest in southern hemisphere. As they blow opposite to the direction of the trade winds, they are also called the anti-trade winds. Students, the westerlies are also known as the anti-trade winds because they flow from the opposite of the trade winds. The last one is, students, the polar winds. As the name suggests, the polar westerlies move out of the polar height towards the subpolar low pressure belts. These winds blow at about 60-degree latitudes above the hemisphere. So this blow from 60 degree above the hemispheres. Okay, students. Now the second type of winds is the seasonal wind. Or it is also known as the periodic wind. Okay, students, so what are the periodic winds? These are the winds which blow regularly during a particular period of time, a day or season. They change their directions in different seasons. Okay, students, they change their direction in different seasons. They are periodic, means from time to time in a particular direction they blow. Students, the last one in the category of winds is the local winds. The local winds in general are developed as a result of local temperature, pressure and humidity variations. They blow over a small area for a short period of time and are restricted to the lower level of the troposphere. Students, for example, land and sea breeze are known as the local winds. Okay, students, they hot and dry local winds of northern plains of India, they are known as I have told you, land and sea breezes too, they are known as the local winds. Okay, students, so for today we will study this much. In the next class we will move to the next further topics, that are the moisture, evaporation, humidity, condensation and etc. etc. For today, students, I am saying goodbye to you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.